bit more about team identities. World Elite. It's a team with a history. It's a team with a story. We got to talk about them a little bit.
Yep.
Let's break it down. World Elite, not doing that great this season.
No, but the thing that we can talk about is the fact that Nidalee was banned, and when World Elite do well, it's because Spirit gets his hands on Nidalee. Now, Spirit is the new jungler, formerly of Samsung Blue, is probably the best jungler in the world. I'll go ahead and say that, despite the fact he's on one of the most subpar LPL teams currently as far as standings are concerned, and his record on Nidalee right now is 9-1, and this also includes Demacia Cup results. So he's an absolute monster on that champion. That's not targeted at the mid lane, that is targeted at him in the jungle.
Yeah, and we are getting into picks and bans, and interestingly enough, it's not Xuan, it's not Kung, it's World 6 replacing Dandy in the jungle.
I mean, frankly, it honestly doesn't matter who it is, because replacing Dandy, those are huge shoes to fill. This is a world champion, long considered the best jungler in the world after his performance on Samsung White. Very intellectual, able to survive meta changes, aggressive, defensive, he can do it all, and the fact that Dandy is being taken out of the jungle, put into the top lane. Expect to see him on a Smite teleport, because that's what he's been taking to the top lane when he's forced into this role swap. And effectively, really what it comes down to is Vici has Dandy playing 2 roles, top and jungle.
Yeah, and a lot of that is off of teamwork with his old Samsung teammate Mata in the bottom. And speaking of Mata, you've got double ban targeted at him with that Alistar and Brand. That's Bard. That's a Bard.
I like to call him Brad.
Brad, yeah. Yes, that is a Bard targeted away at Mata. And Kalista is the last ban for WE. On the other side, you mentioned Spirit's Nidalee, but it's also going to be Hecarim taken from Aluka and Xia losing his LeBlanc.
You know what wasn't taken from Aluka? Sion.
Yes.
So we'll see if Aluka decides to go that route. He's actually recently been trending more towards the carry top laners, Aurelia and Fizz, to not a lot of success. So what happened last time for World Elite, unfortunately, is that just too many fires were sprouting around the map. You lost in the top lane, lost in the bot lane, and the Spirit just couldn't hard carry the game for himself.
Looks like it could be a first pick. Azir, Aluka hovers it, and last second decides to swap it over to Conan. Hatong, we did mention his smaller champion pool. Azir is one of those primary mid lane champions. Could WE be coming into this with a strategy saying, hey, look at this shiny Azir. We want it. We want it. Oh, no, we don't. You should take it before we do.
I mean, they're really just hiding their hand. The fact that Alistar was banned, we've talked about this all night, it means that Nautilus is going to be the go-to support, kind of next in the tier list there. And so by taking the support first pick, they get to allow counter picks and kind of hold their composition. On the other side, though,
yeah, we've got Sivir locked in for Endless, and that's going to be World 6 taking Gragas in the jungle. Should be very exciting to see Endless on that Sivir. World 6 on Gragas, a very strong jungler, something we've seen quite a bit.
Well, Sivir also works really well to the storyline that we've really set up for Vici as far as their playstyle is concerned. If they go back to the more of that rotation, because Sivir just offers so much versatility. Siege, wave clear, her on the hunt for disengage, hard engage, as well as rotational play. So it's a really strong pick in general for the LPL, and it works really nicely to everything that Vici need to accomplish.
And that is going to be Xie locking in Azir. Not going to go for the Sion for Aluka. Instead, he wants to take that away from Hatong. Spirit locking in Lee Sin. Interesting picks out of World Elite.
The thing about World Elite, excuse me, WE, is the fact that they're just not cohesive as a team. So in a big 5v5, they like to run multiple threat or multiple damage threats across the team, simply because it just kind of turns into chaos. They're not as coordinated as they need to be, especially for a region so strong in the 5v5. So if they just have Xia on a champion that can hard carry on his own, on Spirit on a very mobile champion that has carry threat, and then, you know, maybe a hyper carry or something for Mystic, especially with an escape, it's kind of every man for themselves. If it breaks down into a skirmish or to chaos, they can come out ahead because they're just so mechanically gifted. But in a true 5v5 where coordination is the name of the game, it's where they fall short.
Yeah, they don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of 5v5s from Vici, as they do have that skirmish, run around and rotate, typical team play. However, Fizz locked in for what could be Dandy, what could be Hatong, and that's going to be Thresh locked in for Mata.
Ooh, Mata's Thresh.
Yeah.
Now, what's really interesting is when you think about Mata's Thresh, it's not necessarily kind of the Thresh King, the fancy plays that someone like Mad Life or Edward would be known for. It's more of just his threat and his dominance in the lane. The fact that Mata can effectively almost 2v1 all on his own. And frankly, that's kind of what he's had to do with his lane buddy there, Endless, or formerly Vici. Not that they're not a serviceable AD carry as far as LPL standards are concerned, but they really haven't. Endless hasn't had his breakout moment to show he deserves to be here over Vici, because right now they look pretty comparable and almost like a wash in who's really better.
It is going to be very interesting to see how that ends up working for that bottom lane. Meanwhile, Mystic locking in Vayne, and that's going to be Aluka, the train driver Scion in the top lane. That's something we've seen time and time again. There's a good reason that he's taken that Scion.
Aluka really works well on the tanks. And the thing that happened last time World Elite played is, again, Aluka started to branch out more to Aurelia and to Fizz, and unfortunately just doesn't have the mechanics for the 1v1 outplays just quite yet. And so Spirit, normally he would just leave Aluka alone. He can survive on these big tank meta champions, or I'm going to call them role-playing champions. But when Aluka needed Spirit's help, because he needed to look for the 1v1, he needed to look for the snowball, Spirit just couldn't dedicate the time to him, and things started to fall apart. So I'm actually really happy to see that World Elite are returning, putting Aluka on his big power pick, the champion that he's known for, and allowing Spirit to kind of look elsewhere on the map. For sure, Xie.
Yeah, and as we mentioned a little bit earlier, it is the whole group of solo laners. You've got the Vayne Nautilus in the bottom, Azir in the mid lane, Scion in the top, Spirit on the mobile, very effective Lee Sin. World Elite are playing to their strengths as best they can on the other side. You've got the same thing coming out of Vici Gaming as they're opting for something similar with the rotational-based comp. Sivir in the bottom, very, very aggressive Fizz in the top, and Cassiopeia in the mid lane. So should make for a very exciting matchup. What do you think of these team comps?
The thing that I want to speak to, because we can kind of talk about win conditions when we get into the game, is the fact that World Elite, again, they fail in the cohesive 5v5, but that said, they're facing a very weakened Vici Gaming, not only in the role swap, so the fact that Vici themselves, even when they had, you know, Dandy in his former position in the jungle, Hotong in the mid lane, they weren't known as a 5v5 team either. So, I mean, best case scenario, World Elite are very well weighted to actually perform well in this game.
Should be very entertaining. We're going to get right into the game. We're going in. All right, and we have loaded onto the Rift. You can see we got a pause breaking out right quick, as it seems as though we've got some form of trouble in China's end. And yeah, you can see we've got our team comps listed on the screen. We said we would talk about win conditions. I think now's the time.
Trouble in China. Isn't that a movie?
Talking about win conditions?
No, Trouble in China.
Trouble in China? I know there's Trouble in Paradise.
Big Trouble in Little China?
Big Trouble in Little India? Big Trouble in Little Chinatown.
Win conditions. Okay, what we theorized was going to happen is that Dandy was going to be playing two positions, top and jungle. He always takes a smite, not only because it's very popular, but again, it's Dandy. You can't give up that kind of control and that kind of power. So taking the Fizz top, we'll see if he goes for the Flandre build with the Trinity Force, or if he goes more of the Zatai build with the Cinder Hulk. Yeah, and with Aluka opting for the Flash teleport, that is going to be the standard Scion. I'm going to die to get level 2 and then head into the top lane. Looks like Dandy opting for something similar, as both of these top laners are starting off with the Crystalline Flask. And now that they see each other, they know what's up, and they're going to come into lane just about dead even. That means we're not going to get any lane swaps either. The question's going to be how Hotong is going to perform against Xie in lane. So the thing that Hotong is not well known for is his lane phase. It's actually fairly weak, and he's been a big sore point for Vici's win conditions in the past. And he's now facing off against Azir. And yeah, Cassiopeia, we talked about how she can be a lane bully, but Azir is so good at keeping her at max distance with his Sand Soldiers and just his oppressive range. Yeah, especially with Spirit on that incredibly mobile Lee Sin. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on that mid lane and see how that ends up playing into the rest of the matchup. Now, we've got World 6 on Gragas. He's a guy that we don't know too much about. Seems like he was a last-minute swap in for Vici Gaming, and he's got some pretty big shoes to fill in replacing Dandy in the jungle. And frankly, you're taking a world champion out of a role in which he won Worlds. Yep. And you're trying to fill those shoes. It's okay, though, because they have the MVP of Worlds on the bottom side of the map in Mata. Yes. But separating the Mata-Dandy combo. So sad, so tragic. Would you like some fun facts? I most certainly would. Okay, so the ward average for Samsung White, so Mata placing wards, was 80 wards a game.
Wow.
Okay, now this would
Is that
actually
even possible?
Yeah. So it speaks to Samsung's white style because they were very skirmish focused, that they would constantly move around the map and pick up vision. So obviously, if you place a ward in the same spot, just the time, you would never use up that many wards. But just because they moved around the map and they were constantly warding their flanks is how that ended up happening. But Dandy's ward count was directly attached to Mata's ward count as he misses that hook right there. So the fact that you're pulling these two players apart as far as their positions are concerned, that Dandy's not going to get as much overlap with Mata because he's not on that jungle, is going to be really curious how this will evolve and how they'll continue to perform as a team without the reliance on each other and the vision control that Vici have become so well known for.
Yeah, it definitely will be interesting, and it puts a lot of pressure onto World 6 in order to match that vision that Dandy is so standard to place. It seems like he's doing a good job so far. Steals Scuttle Crabs, goes for a deep ward 3 minutes in. I like what I'm seeing so far. He is spotted out by Xie and doesn't even mind that he's going to body slam across. He will find Spirit taking that Scuttle. So junglers just high-fiving as they cross through the mid lane and then head to their own respective side of the jungle.
The casual belly bop across lane.
He's going for a nice jaunt.
I'm actually surprised Spirit didn't proc the Q and just try to do some cheeky damage on him because he actually saw him use the belly bop and the barrel, so he wouldn't have, yeah, he wouldn't have been able to follow up on any sort of ability. Spirit's got bigger fish to fry like red buff.
Bit curious, but yeah, that's going to be both of the junglers opting for the red buff. Bit of an invade from Aluka, but there's nothing to take as Krugs were taken early. And World 6 just cleared out that red buff. Here's Hatong putting some harass onto Xie with some pretty solid damage. You do have both Spirit and World 6 waiting in the wings. Oh, no, looks like we've got a recall from one and a potential roam from the other.
Now, the question with Lee Sin is always, how are you going to play his early game, again, as Mata misses a death sentence? Are you going to be very aggressive early game and make the use of the fact that Lee Sin is fairly powerful with his execute ability, the added bonus on his Sonic Wave, so he does do fairly decent damage levels 1 through 5, or are you going to power farm until level 6, which kind of became a very common thing when Yasuo was very popular, that Lee Sin would rush their Dragon Rage just because of the unique synergy between being able to kick someone and then immediately get final breathed. Ulted. Seems like Spirit's going for more of a farming maneuver. We'll see if maybe he spends some time down bottom with Conan, obviously looking for the dredge lane. Doesn't have a lantern like Mata would, but finds that one.
Yeah, the hook lands. That's Conan landing more hooks than Mata this time.
It's just about the threat. It's about sending a message. Well, again, it's not the crazy mechanical plays, or I mean, Mata has amazing mechanics, but it's not the crazy Mad Life plays that you remember Mata's Thresh for, but he got the Thresh skin in the Samsung White skin collection. It's the 2v1 just dominance, the oppressive lane force that Mata exerts.
Bit of action at the Gromp as Spirit finds World 6, and he is not going to be able to steal that away.
He's got to be really careful.
Yeah, really tricky. Red buff goes down. Spirit taking some solid damage from World 6 as the red buff continues to burn. Flank as Hatong collapses into the pit. Mystic is slowed down. The hook goes wide, but he flashes regardless. They're continuing to fight this out. This could be first blood as Conan is being chased away. He doesn't have flash. He's got Ignite, but he goes down. First blood to Hatong.
Conan pays the price for Spirit's sin right there. So by Conan stepping forward, effectively he was buying Spirit time as he walked to the back of that Dragon Pit, waiting for his safeguard cooldown so he could exit, but hold on.
Hatong caught out of position. He had to have known that this would happen, but he's still going really far forward. Xie flashes forward. He doesn't get the auto attack. They let Hatong go.
Pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just a mechanical misstep there from Xie, which is really unfortunate because his big strength is that he's effectively he came from solo queue, was very high rated on the Chinese solo queue ladder, had some competitive experience formerly on World Elite Academy, but was just never able to make it transition as smoothly into a 5v5 setting because he doesn't have the coordination in team fights. But lane phase is still as oppressive as ever. Unfortunately, just kind of missed the mark there.
Yeah, Hatong actually hasn't recalled yet, despite knowing that Xie was still there. And actually, in fact, he shoves the wave out to try to get it to bounce before finally recalling and heading back. With that first blood, he's going to be feeling pretty confident. Opts for a tier first, and is even able to afford the blasting rod for more sustain. Now we've got World 6 echoing the invade that Spirit did earlier. He gets a nice deep ward and says, you know what? I'm not going to skirmish this. It didn't work out for you last time. I'm not going to try it this time.
The W just so oppressive on Gragas. Can walk into that jungle for free, but we do have some action heading up into the top lane.
Oh man, the hook lands in Aluka.
He could have pulled.
Yeah, he could have.
I always love that when the train driver's running forward and you have the Thresh that's just like mush.
Onward, mule. But yeah, Aluka's feeling just fine.
Burns the ultimate.
We haven't seen any recalls just yet out of either Dandy or Aluka. Dandy's been playing a very fun style Fizz. Anytime you see Aluka start charging something up, just become untargetable. Just dodge it and get right back onto the minions. And it's really working out so far as Dandy. Minor CS lead. Aluka should be able to catch right back up. Xie, we can see, taking his blue buff, and that's going to be Hatong looking for his own blue as well. Things are settling down. It's once again getting to that calm laning phase that we all know and love.
Pretty standard itemization. Again, the question still, what type of Fizz is Dandy going to go for? Is it going to be the Cinder Hulk? Is it going to be the Trinity Force? Most commonly, we've seen the Cinder Hulk, although Spirit in the back looking for a gank.
Could go for it, but Dandy's awful far back under that turret. He is making it back in time, and Spirit decides to go for a bit of a recall instead. We'll have to see what smite he goes for, and as you mentioned, Dandy could be a bit volatile with that specific smite choice on Fizz, and whether or not he decides to go Trinity Force like we saw earlier today, or Cinder Hulk first. There's a lot of variability in Fizz builds in general.
I'm waiting for him to back so I can see it.
Yeah, I know. There it is, the recall.
It's the Cinder Hulk.
Yep, challenging smite.
Okay, so how this really works is with the percentage health shred on Fizz's W, I believe. He's obviously able to do damage without building damage. Of course, it's always going to help him, but it's not like he's limiting his damage threat by building the Cinder Hulk or being tanky. The other nice thing about this build is from Cinder Hulk, you go into Frozen Heart. Although, hold on, Mystic.
Yeah, Hook finds Mystic. Ignite is dropped as well. He's tumbling to the side. World 6. Oh!
Pop.
He actually goes a little bit too far forward. The Ignite picks up the kill. It's going to be Mata who secures it. Conan still with no flash, running for his life, goes down. It's Endless who gets another kill for Vici Gaming.
Great performance there from Mata, and because they have the 2 bottom laners killed, it's a pretty easy decision to transition this into a dragon, knowing that they have a numbers advantage. Back to Cinder Hulk. Oh, wait, hold on. Spirit looking for a steal. Can he get it?
Let's see. Drops a ward over the wall. They know that it's going to happen. Q goes out, but secured. World 6 secures the first dragon for Vici Gaming.
Beautiful smite. Good things to see from the new jungler for Vici here.
Yeah.
Cinder Hulk Fizz. So it's going to go into a Frozen Heart CDR, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up specifically with Dandy is because you already made the point that Dandy's being pretty cute with his, I call it the stripper pole, the troll pole. The troll pole. The troll pole, by dodging out the charge, or excuse me, devastating smash from Sion. By getting the 40% CDR on Cinder Hulk, it's almost like a superficial tankiness because you're spending more time airborne because obviously you're able to proc that E cooldown more often than not, and likewise the Bammy Cinder will continually burn while he's in the air, so you're technically still doing slight magic damage. But it just really fits to Dandy's playstyle that he's already showing against the Scion, that he wants to continually use that E to dodge out.
Yeah, so we have once again returned to that landing phase. Vici feeling very confident with a 2,000 gold lead, securing that first dragon and putting up some pretty consistent lane pressure across the map. Now, we talked about how Vici typically are at their best when they're opting for a rotation lane style play where they go left and right. We can see Dandy getting some harass onto Aluka here as it's a 3-man roam, but Aluka gets out just fine. Continuing on that thread, what does Vici need to do? What item breakpoints do they need to hit to start feeling safe with some of those rotations?
I mean, frankly, they're already really starting at the fact that Mata did his signature Moby's Rush. Now, what he used to do is he would go back, and as opposed to spending 800 gold on Sightstone that a lot of supports would do, he would buy Moby's and then pick up 2 wards and then use the Moby's speed to quickly place deep wards. But with his Moby's right now, he's just rotating across the map looking for skirmishes, especially because we have World 6 actually standing in the wings here on Aluka.
Yeah, they flank onto Aluka. He's knocked into the wall. The dive comes out. Dandy secures another kill for Vici, but in the bottom, World Elite going for a bit of a dive. They're not able to find Endless as Mata comes to help out his AD carry. They get out just fine.
And this is really unfortunate for World Elite that there's no answers on the board for them to kind of counter the fact that so many resources were committed top by Vici to make that kill happen.
Yeah, and that was, in fact, Dandy traded over the first kill to World Elite. Finally getting some blood on the board as they secure the kill onto Dandy, and now Endless continuing to farm it up in the bottom. We saw World Elite trying to go for some sort of cheeky play and cheeky dive, but they were not able to pull it off. And the team of solo laners is starting to crumble under the pressure from Vici.
What a dark day when all of these god-tier junglers have been exiled into the top lane. It started with Insec, and now we have Dandy. I mean, technically it started with Dandy and then went to Insect. But no, you know, I'll give it to Insect for KT. He did it first. He's the OG jungle to top lane. Sorry, Dandy. Next time.
Next time. If he swaps down to like mid or something, then we'll see how that works.
Then Dandy will play 3 roles for the team.
Yeah, controlling top, mid, and jungle. And he won't even have to worry about bottom because Mata's down there.
Nothing else is new.
Exactly. Scrying Orb comes out to spot and see if anything's happening. No cheeky play out of Spirit as he did just recall, opting for the Warriors first instead of going for the Cinder Hulk. In the top, Dandy and Aluka return to lane. Defensive build out of Aluka. Dandy opting for some magic resist as he looks towards a Spectre's Cowl in the mid lane. Hatong finishes his Staff of the Seraphim.
And really the big power spike is when he's going to have his Archangels available to him. Excuse me, his Seraph's Embrace.
Yes.
And has that shield available to him, so...
Yeah, it's Archangels.
Archangels.
Just like Lux's ultimate is Finalis Funkin. Funkeln. There's an L in there.
Demacia!
Yeah.
That's all I call it.
Whoa! Flash body slam as World 6 finds Conan. He's flayed forward. Vici looking for a 2-turret dive. They find Conan and remove him from the map.
My favorite part about that was how Hatong whiffed the Petrifying Gaze because of the cask. But it's fine. Got the assist. It's all good, guys.
Yeah, World 6, the new jungler for Vici Gaming, is coming up huge right now. He's been involved in all 5 of his team kills. He's been all across the map. And he's doing an excellent job of putting Vici further and further ahead.
Huge shoes to fill, obviously, following Dandy, but you are absolutely right. He's looking fantastic right now on this Gragas, but now in the top lane.
Yeah, speaking of Dandy filling some shoes, he's going to have to get some fancy footwork going on right now as both Spirit and Aluka are trying to dive him. They will secure it. Aluka gets the kill.
Beautiful job from Spirit right there. And giving it over into Aluka, we'll see what he's able to do with that gold. He now has 100% of World Elite's kills, and that's typically not where you want your gold to go. Not that the Scion isn't nice, but...
He's going full tank. Eventually, that's going to become a problem. I mean, sure, you can ignore Scion because he's a tank, but...
Or he'll just whiff his ultimate.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
The drive-by.
Actually, Aluka's fairly good at hitting that ultimate.
Mata's getting really aggressive here. He should try to get some slowdown onto Aluka. Flash comes out. He tosses out the amazing Dark Passage as World 6 comes up with Hatong, and Mata's actually going to be able to get out of here just fine. Dandy teleports in for revenge. Aluka running for his life. He doesn't have Flash. The body slam reaches him at max range. Aluka is almost certainly going to be dived. He is indeed. Dandy, with 2 kills, secures that revenge just fine, and Vici are looking stronger than ever.
What a great play from Mata, showing them the leg, making them interested, the 2v1 from the Thresh. And like you said, a fantastic Dark Passage. The fact that he flashed the CC through the Lantern and got his team involved in the back half of that.
Oh, the dive continues. Jie is the target. A huge Emperor's Divide is going to find Dandy. World 6 tanking the turret. He is doing such a big job. The 5-man rotation secures the kill. And this is Vici rotating and looking as strong as ever. They might lose a turret on the bottom.
But it's a different style of rotation. So again, in the past, Vici really excelled because they would just avoid the enemy team. This is completely new animal and kind of an evolution of Vici's style. They're rotating to make picks, to find advantages and then translating that into objectives when typically it's rotating to just run away from the enemy team. This is fabulous to see.
Yeah, the immediate response after taking that turret is head down to the dragon. Hatong, very aggressive there. He's going to be shut down. That gold is picked up by a very much needed Mystic. Dandy has joined the fight. He misses the fish. If he can try to knock them into it, that would be great, but Mystic saves his flash, gets out on the backside. Dandy was 1v3 long enough for the rest of Vici to join the battle. He should be able to make it over the wall. No, he goes down. Spirit secures it. Aluka joining the fight, getting some damage across. Remember, Hatong isn't there. He died from the overextension, and Vici are forced to run away as fast as possible. Spirit looking for some chase, but can't quite find it with those 2 kills. Vici back away, and WE should be looking to take this dragon.
Dandy way too overzealous right there. Look at his itemization. So typically you would go into armor, but he decided to go for MR, and frankly, he got shredded by Vayne and Lee Sin, so the MR didn't help at all.
Yeah, remember, that is a very scary Vayne on Mystic. He should be able to finish his Blade of the Ruined King after picking up that shutdown gold from Hatong. Yeah.
There we go.
There it is, secured.
So this is the big power spike for Vayne, so obviously this allows her to have her 1v1 duel potential. And everyone's really liking Vayne because she's a good answer to Sivir. She can out-duel Sivir. That said, Sivir is going to still offer incredible versatility that Vayne won't in terms of sieging, rotations, hard engage, disengage. In a true 1v1, though, it's totally to Vayne. And how this is really going to work as far as attack speed and final hour. So when Vayne procs her ultimate a final hour, she gets bonus AD that roughly equates to a BF sword at some point in the game. So by itemizing attack speed in that 8-second duration of her final hour, she gets the BF sword that she sacrificed anyway to rush the Blade of the Ruined King, and gets kind of the best of both worlds, which means that she's that much more terrifying when she's in her ultimate.
Yeah, on top of that Blade of the Ruined King, she has now secured a Zeal for her build. Endless, on the other hand, despite being 1-0-4, he hasn't really picked up a lot of the global gold for his team. That's been primarily sent towards Hatong and Dandy in the top lane. Finally finishes off that Infinity Edge, another very strong power spike for Vici Gaming. And it seems like they're suffering a little bit when they aren't the ones making the primary plays, making the primary initiation. They're starting to feel a little lackluster.
Glad that you started to bring up kind of where the gold is weighted on these teams. So historically, throughout the LPL this season so far, Mata has the highest gold percentage of any of the supports in LPL, and Spirit has the second highest gold percentage of any of the junglers in LPL, which this really goes back to say, like, these are the hinges on which their success swings. Worldly is all about Spirit and how he can impact the map with these high mobility, high impact junglers. And Mata, leading the charge, was the shot caller for Samsung White, is the shot caller for Vici Gaming, controls their vision, and we saw it this game with those Moby boots just running around and making everything happen.
Yeah, a bit of aggression out of World 6 and Mata. That was actually a very, very clever play. I really like how they went for the invade, but while they weren't able to find anything, they did get a few deep wards down and really just kind of got a feel for where World Elite are right now. And with that, they continue going for some more pressure, going for some more harass in the bottom. Wards covering the Dragon Pit for Vici, though. They did see it get secured by WE, and for the time being, seems as though everyone's just going to take it safe, try to get their next power spike. Hatong, he's looking for a Luden's Echo on Cassiopeia.
Kind of early in her rotation to build a Luden's Echo now. She is a sustain mage, and what I mean by that is I defined this in the past that there's burst mages and there's sustain mages. So a sustain mage like Cassiopeia, she's going to be doing her damage because it's about how many rotations she can get through her spell, i.e. proc that Twin Fangs as much as possible, just spam it down, versus Annie, who's going to be that big level 6, goes through one spell rotation, and that's pretty much her team fight. Now the Luden's Echo is going to be far more prominent on sustain mages, simply because the more times you proc your abilities, the more times you're going to get Luden's Echo proc. The thing about it is that it's typically a rush item if you're going to get like the most cost efficiency out of it, just because of its flat AP. So it works really well on champions like Ahri, because Ahri doesn't necessarily need a core built up. She can just go straight into the flat AP and do ridiculous amounts of damage, and then find great synergy off of the movement speed. With Cassiopeia, typically it's the Seraph's Embrace. Building up the tier is incredibly important, so that's a core item. And then typically into a Rylai's, but completely ignoring that aspect of the health and just going straight damage.
Vici collapsing onto the Baron Pit. They saw Mystic in the bottom lane, so they can try rushing it down. It's 20 minutes into the game, right on time. They're going to try burning through its health. They secure it very quickly. This could be a scary fight for WE. They have to get out of there. A huge flash cask is going to knock Xie right out of there. Stun finds Aluka. This could be a turn fight as Hatong no longer has his ultimate. There's no longer the stun from Hatong, but Vici back away, securing the Baron.
When things go right for Vici, they go so right.
Oh, yeah.
They currently have the shortest average game time, and you can see why. They were a rotation-focused team before, and when they had that identity, they just rotated beautifully, tearing games out from underneath people before they had a chance to react. This is a new Vici, rotating into enemy teams, finding picks, taking objectives, and abusing the lead that they're given into an incredibly early Baron. That might be the earliest Baron that we've seen.
That was 20 minutes and, what, 20 seconds when they started it?
Well, they're also able to do that so efficiently simply because Hatong had the blue buff on Cassiopeia, and again, the Shred, the fact that she can just layer her poison onto the Baron and continually spam that E on the 0.5 second cooldown is absurd. Yeah,
with that, you've got Vici now going to start looking for objectives as they shove forward. This turret doesn't have very long to live for this world as the siege continues. Potential rotation towards the bottom as you've got Dandy split pushing with those Baroned up minions to clear it out.
You know what's really cool?
Tell me.
The fact that they decided to opt into the early Baron at 20 minutes and the big, like we said, the big shred for that is obviously going to be Cassiopeia. The fact that he itemized Luden's Echo second, so obviously it's going to give him just straight more shred because he's going to be doing more damage as opposed to the tankiness that Rylai's and the survivability that Rylai's is going to give to Cassiopeia. So I'm curious how far in advance this plan was. I'm not saying like, you know, we're going to rush that Baron at 20 minutes, so I'm going to build the Luden's Echo. But it definitely was a huge factor in the timing that it took to shred that.
Yeah. Could be very clever. I mean, I'm inclined to think that it's just clever play because he went for...
I'll give it to him, Hatong.
Yeah, he got the needlessly large rod, but Hatong looking very strong right now as he does have a KDA of 5, currently involved in a lot of his team kills. World 6, though. I keep on want to continue talking about this guy. I mean, he's doing so much for Vici this game. He's involved in all of his team kills. He's rotating left and right. He's getting Hatong fed. He's getting Dandy strong. He's even helping Endless out. And his initiations in team fights have been pretty bomb. If Shie didn't have his flash off the backside of that fight, that could have been a very scary fight for Vici. Leads the charge onto the Dragon. This could be number 2 for Vici.
Spirit not in position to steal that one. Looks like they're just going to give it away for free.
Yeah, very impressive play from Vici Gaming. They've got Baron. What else can they take with this? So far, it's been 1 turret. Dandy opting for the split push. Aluka is not answering it, so that's a really big minion wave that's going to crash on that turret. No one's going to catch it. Vici opting for the rotation. They're going to swing up to that top tier 2, and it seems like they've caught World Elite on the back foot. Will they be able to make it in time? Vici get onto the turret.
This is something much more, hold on though. This is something much more indicative of former Vici. They're very good that when they're playing from behind, making those rotations. But there's the on the hunt.
Fight breaks out. They're going to target Spirit first. Endless is kicked back. He's going to be engaged upon by Shie. He goes low. He's actually secured. Mata now running for his life. He's dropping low too. Mystic dancing around the back of the fight with that Vayne. So much damage. World 6. Dandy getting some damage across. He's going to juke now onto Mystic, but this fight is going all the right kinds of right for World Elite as they pick up another kill. It's a double kill now, and that's going to be an ace for World Elite.
We just talked about how Vici, when they find their success, it's in their rotational plays, that they're a very weak 5v5 team fighting team, and we saw it exactly there. And the other thing is we talked about World Elite. They're not the strongest 5v5 either, so how did they win that fight? It was on 2 fronts. That wasn't a 5v5. That was a 2v2 and a 3v3.
Yeah.
It's 2 different skirmishes in the same area, and World Elite's mechanical outplays come out on top.
Yeah, and I was in fact wrong. Hatong survived through that fight, so it wasn't an ace. It was 4 kills for 2, but World Elite effectively removing the Baron from 4 members of Vici Gaming and defending their top tier 2 turret, making them feel pretty confident in this. They're not out of this game just yet, despite the lead that Vici Gaming has.
Their success and their playstyle depends so much on out-rotating the enemy team into a pick and then playing with the numbers advantage.
Oh no,
Speaking
Dandy is caught out of position. He just used his troll pole to try to dance around Vici showing up, and he's actually going to be able to make it out of here. Aluka, is he going to be able to thread the needle here? He goes for some chase, narrowly misses the roar of the Slayer, and Dandy should be able to hop this wall. They could leave Mata, though. Slow comes down, Hook pulls it right back in. Great ultimate from World 6, splits the fight, but Mata's continuing to be chased. He's going low. He's going to be dropped by Spirit. This is the rest of Vici Gaming joining the battle. Hatong going for some big damage with Endless as they get further and further forward. They pick off Aluka. That's so far a 1-for-1. They're chasing forward. Hatong finds the slow, but isn't able to chase any further. Endless already used his on the hunt. WE should be able to get out of this one. Yeah, they make it under the turret.
This time around, Mata pays for Dandy. Sen's getting caught out right there. Dandy makes it away, and Mata is the one eating that. But it was a fantastic Emperor's Divide from Shie to reset that fight and to allow World Elite to take the kill and walk away.
Yeah, and with that World Elite trade 1-for-1, it's now 9-10 in kills, and World Elite are only down 3,500 gold. Not that bad. Dragons are definitely still a possibility as it's 1-2, and this game seems like it's not over just yet, as both of these teams are skirmishing and team fighting with the best of them.
Well, World Elite are definitely starting to ramp up in terms of their itemization. You have the Death Cap as well as the Morellos complete for Azir. On the other side, the QSS, hugely important for Vayne, obviously, because a CC could mean the end of her aggressive tumbles, as well as the Phantom Dancer and Bork complete.
Yeah, and with the Quicksilver Sash, she will be able to cleanse that poison off of Cassiopeia, like we talked about in the previous game, and really try to deny some of that damage from Hatong, and more importantly, shut down any CC that he finds himself in so that he can continue to dish out those very punishing auto attacks. Looks like Vici opting for another rotation to the top tier 2 turret. Are they going to try making the same play that they did last time that was so disastrous for them?
5v5s have not been working out. They need to rotate, find a pick, and then attempt to play that direction. Again, they are playing with role swaps. Obviously, Dandy isn't a top laner. And again, speaking of pick.
Yeah, Conan's the one who's caught. He procs the wall of the box, slows. Gonna lock him down a bit, but he just casually rides that anchor to safety. And with that recall, it's now 5 versus 4 for a very brief window. Spirit going to find Mata. There is a ward that spots them out. Cleared. Baron's up in 6 seconds. Vici are looking to contest.
They haven't checked the pit. They haven't noticed that there's actually a pink ward on the Baron from World Elite. And so World Elite have full vision that that Baron is not going down and that they know that Vici are setting up a trap. So we'll see where they go.
Mata has his sweeper. It's off of cooldown right now, and he's directly on top of a ward. It's kind of hilarious. They want to fight right now, which is very interesting. It's not normally something we see from Vici Gaming.
Now, what's important is W have a massive wave on the bottom side of the map. It is a slow push. They finally, Vici find the ward into the Baron pit, so it's a little bit more precarious of a situation for WE, but it looks like they're going to push the mid lane because they have 2 massive pressure points on the map. Yeah,
WE grouped up. They know that they've got those pressure points, so they're going to try to use them to the best of their abilities. Walking forward now, they're going to clear all of the hard-earned wards of Vici Gaming. Get some more vision back into the pit, placing a ward in the exact same spot as the last one. Aluka looking to go for a potential fight. Spell shield goes down. Aluka dodges it. The spell shield is on cooldown. Fight doesn't break out. World Elite gets on the backside. He knocks Mystic right back in, but not into the stun. Dandy on the backside is going 1 versus 2 here. Rides the Lantern to safety as he decides he doesn't want any part of this. And Vici Gaming are juggling this so expertly. Nobody has died just yet. Mata, a little overextended, gets out just fine, and the fight dies down.
Really aggressive play from Dandy to try to get into the back line. This is the other thing about Fizz. Like, why is Fizz starting to rise up? Why are we seeing this tanky build? And the thing is that with so much peel and so much CC, this being the kind of the era of the Cinderhulk, the era of tanks, Fizz is super sticky onto these hyper carries, especially Vayne.
Ooh, the Death Bush set up by WE, but instead they decide to collapse onto the Baron. Wards from Vici spotted out, and they are grouped up enough. World 6 is the one who's caught, doesn't have the explosive cast. Mata slows it down. Mystic looking for Mata on the right side. Hatong kicked into the fight. He's forced to flash away. Emperor's Divide even knocks him even further. Finally, he's going to be shut down as Endless secures the kill onto Spirit. Dandy diving in the back line is going to kill Xie. This is Vici cleaning up so strong. Mystic, the sole survivor for his team. No, Aluka's still alive too. Endless throwing boomerang after boomerang. The barrel with the slow. Knocked up now. It's going to be the fish. Dandy secures. No, Endless. It gets the last kill. An ace for Vici Gaming.
World Elite do get the tower, but what started out so good right there, a perfect insect from Spirit, looks like he was going to get away, but Endless cleaned him up on the very back half of that fight, and an Emperor's Divide split the fight, but just so horribly against the mobility that Vici had with Dandy bouncing around everywhere. This is going to be the ace and the Baron. Yeah,
Vici take the Baron. They actually managed to wait until Mata came back up. I think Mata has the Baron buff as well, which is fantastic for Vici Gaming.
It's only super important that you have it in 3 members, preferably the top laner and then your 2 carries, so that way you can apply the Baron buff in every single lane as opposed to just consolidate it to 1 point.
Yeah, this is some pretty phenomenal stuff. Dragon has now respawned. Vici Gaming are on their way to the backside of the pit. And Vici Gaming coming up very strong after that previous fight. And really, I can't make up my mind whether or not they purposefully wanted it after the brief skirmish with WE. They knew that Mystic didn't have his final hour.
Smile and nod, yes.
Yeah.
Smile and nod.
Or did they just ride the mistakes? It ended up working out so well. With the Baron, they secure their 3rd dragon of the game. Increased mobility means faster rotations. Faster rotations. Rotatos means a happy Vici Gaming.
Now it's going to be what pressure point, or excuse me, what objective are they going to look for? Is it going to be that 2nd tier mid tower, which would grant them the most passive vision control and map control? Looks to be split pressure points that Dandy is prepping the wave into the bottom lane. Now, obviously, with Baron down, that was the big objective on the top side of the map, which gives them, again, a window of opportunity to make plays on the bottom side of the map. If they are to secure the bottom inhibitor, that means that on the third rotation of Baron, that if they have that bottom inhibitor, World Elite would have to play on 2 different fronts, stopping the super minion creep wave on the bottom side and making sure that Vici don't get another free Baron.
Yes, elementary, one might say.
Thank you, Watson.
And the siege begins. Mata with a flash forward, finds Mystic, takes a lot of damage. He's actually going to go down here as he's the one tanking the turret. The fight breaks out. It's 5 versus 4. Spirit's nowhere to be found. Xie trying to clean it up. Dandy dives into the back line. He's knocked up, but Vici are cleaning up member after member. 3 people have fallen so far. Xie and Spirit, the sole survivors. They're going to take down this tier 2 turret. And with Baron buff still across 4 members of this push, 3 members of this push, they're going to get onto the inhibitor next.
There's just nothing Spirit can really do in these team fights. World 6, a fantastic performance from the new jungler for Vici Gaming. And
yeah.
Gragas is just so much higher impact in these late game team fights. The cask for the reset. That was cheeky.
That was very cheeky. Recalling in the face of WE. He does take a Sonic Wave to pay for it, but as you mentioned, that inhibitor is down just in time for the 3rd spawn of Baron when it comes back up, if it comes back up. Because right now, Vici have got an incredible lead. 9,000 gold, that bottom inhibitor down. They've got 3 dragons. Really, they're looking exceptionally strong with World 6 filling Dandy's shoes really well. I
mean, that said, it's not over for World Elite yet. We've seen miracles happen. It was a miracle that they even made it into playoffs. Oh my, that was a trip. They have Vayne, they have Azir, so they have the hyperscaling potential to kind of come back from this. And as this game goes later and later, we've talked about this in the past, the gold gap really equates to nothing. It's gold to a point as opposed to just a discrepancy between the two. Mm-hmm. I mean, but really what they need to happen is they need Mystic to stay alive, and they need Xie to put up a good Emperor's Divide and to zone for this powerful Vayne. Yeah,
he's had some pretty solid splits earlier on, though he is having some difficulty knocking Dandy out of the fight. It seems that now he's using his Emperor's Divide.
Super sticky. It's the thing about Fizz. With so much peel and so much tankiness for these hyper-scaling ADCs and these very slippery ADCs, Fizz can pretty much keep up with the best of them. You just cannot get him off of the back line.
Yeah, it seems as though WE are floundering a bit under this consistent pressure. Baron has now fallen off, so this is going to be a regular push onto the tier 2 turret. Didn't work out so well the first time they went for this rotation, as it was a fight, though this time Endless is a bit late to the party. The siege will continue as scheduled.
Well, this time they also have a massive pressure point in the bottom side, so before they didn't have the free inhib. And there you see that massive wave that's going to be pushing in on the Nexus tower in the bot lane there, which means World Elite sending Mystic to deal with that. I was going to say it should mean a free top tier tower, but it looks like they're looking for the mid tower, looking for a pick.
They opt to go mid. World 6 gets a bit aggressive as they try to get some damage onto the turret. Dandy and Endless tickle that thing down, but it's still at half health. And the siege continues. Rotatos left and middle, as it's top and mid lane that are the siege for Vici Gaming. Some harass continues. Dandy opting for the split. He's got his teleport. The remaining members of Vici stick mid. Mystic on the bottom. Dragon, 2 minutes.
The wave clear from Azir is just so potent and powerful and very safe, obviously able to get those Sand Soldiers up and in front of you. Why they send Dandy to the top lane, because obviously he can slowly shred through Aluka. Aluka will only be able to hold that tower for so long.
He's actually doing a really good job. I really like that approach to it. He's like, you know what? I don't actually have to worry about Dandy.
I just kill the creeps.
Exactly. He juggles the creeps off the wave, and slowly but surely, however, in the mid lane, they chunk the turret auto after auto, and it continues to fall. Now Baron is going to be up in 2 minutes.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Exactly. Vici are just continuing to stall it out, and paper cut after paper cut. WE are...
Mana's had enough.
Yeah. Doing what they can.
Just hack it down.
He gets forward, tanking the turret. It falls, and with that, WE lose their mid-tier 2 turret. Looks like they might lose their top as well as Vici rotate back to the top once again. And Endless with 2 auto attacks brings it low. This could be a fight. They knock up. Endless is the target. He's still alive, however, and this is Vici looking exceptionally strong as they kill Conan. They punish him for his hubris, trying to turn this into a full 5v5 team fight. The dive continues as Vici destroy the turret and continuing to shove forward, but WE make it out
just zero peel effectively
Yeah.
from Mystic. He spent his entire duration of that fight running away as opposed to putting out autos, and Xie sitting on the Emperor's Divide. Now obviously he didn't get a perfect situation in which he can put that out, but still could have at least tried to supply a bit of space for his team. Chooses to hold on to an incredibly important cooldown, but I mean, if Mystic's spending his time tumbling away as opposed to tumbling in or doing auto attacks, the team fight's lost.
Yeah, Mystic, really one of the big hyper carries for WE. He's doing pretty solid as he has now reached 3 items plus a defensive item and is looking towards that last 5th item to complete his build. Dragon has now respawned. Dandy looking to solo it. He's got teleport so he can join from the other side of the fight. Baron's up in a few seconds too, but Vici find a pick onto Spirit. Spirit's flashes. He's going to go down. Oh, Aluka looks like he forces a fight. Endless ends up being traded over there onto Hatong. He flashes. The explosive cast knocks everyone away. The tanks don't have enough damage. Hatong shreds through. The rest of Vici are just stalling for Hatong to catch up and shred through those front lines. World 6 and Dandy have now joined the battle. Dandy jumps in just to die, and World 6 secures another kill while Hatong kills Aluka. It's an ace for Vici Gaming.
That said, Xie did get some on the back half. Not a total loss. It's really only 3 members that are standing up, and it's not the AD carry, so shredding down towers is still going to be relatively difficult. A lot of pings going down. Looks like they're going to circle back to Baron, so I actually like this call. So the AD carry's not up, so they don't have their primary siege or their tower killer, but they do have their Baron killer, and they immediately transfer Hatong over to that Baron to use the blue buff on Cassiopeia.
Look at how fast that thing is going down. Luden's Echo being procced on every 3rd or 4th Q. It's just so terrifying, the damage that he's done. That's the 3rd Baron in a row secured for Vici Gaming as they are putting out some ridiculous pressure. And even the minions taking down the inhibitor on the bottom side of the map. WE are struggling to stay afloat under the rising tide of Vici Gaming.
And we said it in Champion Select that Vici have really identified themselves as kind of the Korean-esque team, very rotation focused. Death by 1,000 paper cuts, a very slow choke out style of game where they just eat every available resource and just calmly and clinically take you down.
Yeah, and you've really got to talk to the morale of WE right now because slowly but surely they're hemorrhaging cut after cut, item after item, building after building. And after a while, it just becomes so hard to keep playing when you haven't won a team fight in 20 minutes, when you haven't taken a turret, when you haven't even taken a kill. And Vici Gaming are continuing to keep up this constant pressure, these constant rotations. WE are still in this, though. Well,
when interviewed before the summer split happened, Spirit said confidently that they would be a top-tier team, perhaps one of the best behind EDG and ING. And, of course, Mystic standing next to him was like, you know, maybe top 4. And unfortunately, it just really hasn't connected. That said, still relatively early in the season. We've said it before. We'll say it again. 44 games these teams will play. We're only in week 3, so there's plenty of time for WE to turn it around. We saw the miracle slide into the playoffs to kick Masters 3 into the promotion tournament. So WE have made miracles happen in the past, and maybe one will happen this game.
Yeah, well,
doubtful, but it could happen.
It definitely is possible. I mean, you've got a late game hyper carry Vayne. You've got some incredibly scary damage on Azir, who's now 4 items. However, the siege begins. Vici go forward. They find Conan. He misses the hook, goes down to Endless. The siege continues, this time without Conan to break down or get any sort of hooks or engage. WE are a bit on the backside. The explosive cast knocks Mystic out of his own base. He is deleted from the map. World 6 traded over. Mata's actually locked in between the wall and the turret, and Xie is able to pick up a kill onto Endless as he gets too far forward. So 3 for 2 right there in favor of Vici Gaming. However, they still got Baron buff. They've got so many cannoned up minions. That inhibitor falls, and Vici are still feeling awful strong.
World 6, the replacement for Dandy in the jungle, 3, 2, and 21 out of 26 kills. Now, the thing that I want to point out, though, is Mata is still 2, 4, and 20, so still not the same participation that World 6 has seen, but leading the charge nonetheless. The synergy and the cohesion between these two is excellent right now, and this is exactly what Vici needed because, frankly, things were not going right for them the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I want to know what rock they were keeping this guy under because he is working so excellently with the synergy of Vici Gaming. He knows how to go when Vici want to fight. He knows when to disengage and when things are sour. And it really speaks to how quickly Vici have adapted to this new guy on their roster. Now, with those 2 inhibitors down, Vici Gaming have got almost complete control of the map over the map. They're even setting up a bit of a death bush at the blue. So if World Elite WE even want to try to reclaim any sort of semblance of map control, they're going to have to go through the death squad of Hatong and Mata.
The respect that Vici are giving WE right now, the fact that their win condition right now is looking at the 5th dragon or possibly the 4th Baron.
You know, it's working. It's playing it safe. It's saying, all right, we've got a new guy. We're doing well with him. But let's not take any chances. You know, we've got this winning combination.
It continues, though, to speak to some of the long-lasting problems in their roster, namely in their solo laners. Hatong has had a fairly weak performance, not just this current split, but last split. Some questionable calls, although hold on,
Dandy
Mystic.
going toe-to-toe with Mystic. Now that Xie has joined the battle, that's going to be one dead Dandy, and he's saying, come on, man. We were having a 1v1. Vayne versus Fizz. That's Mechanic City.
But I was going to talk about, again, kind of their lackluster 5v5 in the cohesion. That said, Hatong really stepping up this time around, 10-2-10 on his Cassiopeia.
Yeah, and he's working exceptionally well with Endless, who's 8-3-10, fully 5-item Sivir. Very, very scary. Bit of a siege coming out as you've got Vici shoving down the last remaining bastion of hope for World Elite as they want to take that last inhibitor. However, they know they don't have Dandy. They can't take a full 5-on-5. So what they're going to do is continue putting pressure on, waiting for the minions to shove, and back away whenever they see a fight break out. Now, Dragon's up in 2 minutes. They find a pick onto Aluka. He's dead. Conan also picked. Also.
Poor little Conan.
Yeah, I know.
Conan the Barbarian, 0, 10, and 8.
He's an awful poor Barbarian with this game. He's going down quite a bit. Siege continues with 2 members dead. It's now 4 versus 3. Dandy's up. He's got teleport. We'll see if he joins the battle. He does indeed. Xie trying to clear that cannon minion with the Sand Soldiers, but you can't kill a teleporting minion. With that, the last inhibitor turret goes down. The inhibitor shortly to follow. That bottom inhibitor is the just respawned. I think this mid inhibitor is going to respawn as well.
Nope.
Nope. Yeah, so that's all 3 inhibitors down. 5th Dragon is up in a minute. 4th Baron is up in a minute and a half. It's up to what Vici want to do.
I think they want to end the game right now.
You think it's time?
Yeah, I definitely think it's time. It's going to be the first game for Vici right here, and kind of an evolution of their style and a great standout performance from World 6.
Yeah, a very chaotic fight as they are diving onto the Nexus. The Nexus finally goes down, and that's Vici Gaming taking the win. 31 kills to 17 over World Elite. And World 6, man, this guy, where did he come from? This is phenomenal.
I frankly couldn't tell you, but I mean, like we said, he's filling Dandy's shoes. This is a world champion, one of the best junglers in the world.
Yeah.
Looked fantastic on that Gragas. Doubt we'll see him get that champion again, or possibly ever.
Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible breakout performance. He probably had something like a 95, 96% kill participation, somewhere way up there, unless he died under that Nexus the last time, because that would, oh no, that doesn't actually affect kill participation, because that's KDA. It's a different stat entirely. But yeah, it was a very, very excellent performance out of Vici Gaming. And as you mentioned, their identity, not only did they bring in this new guy who fleshes out their roster so well, but they're also now looking for rotations and looking for picks on top of those rotations. They're not just running away and looking for objectives.
And they're building up the strength of their solo laners, particularly in Hatong as well. Hatong has a had a weak performance last split. Looked a little shaky on the start of this one, but a really solid Cassiopeia game from him. Again, 10-2-10. So yeah, great work.
Really solid. We'll have to keep an eye on Hatong's performance in the next game. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break while we get everything set up, but don't go anywhere. It's Vici Gaming.